Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, good evening, Dabo, and good evening to our viewers across the globe.
Yes, I also have online joining me is, of course, Mr. Thierry-Nwala. Thank you for your time, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
All right, let me start with you. Mr. Okunade. We saw yesterday pockets of protest across the nation. Let me just ask, from a general perspective, was that protest timely?
Well, when people talk about the timeliness of protest, I tell them there is no best time for you to say a particular protest is right on time or it's not the right time. Considering the major stake or the highlight of the reason for this protest put together by Take Back Nigeria, you discover that there are reality that every individual is actually faced with. And I want to say that at a point in time, Mr. President alluded to the fact that there is serious hardship, though they are working on it. But when people are really not getting the relief, when you're talking to close to 2 years of governance in the country, they just have to speak up. So for me, there is no best time than now at which people can actually come out to express their feeling, knowing fully well there are a lot of promises that this administration has actually given to them, but there seems to be no sign of having some of these promises come to bear, most especially the masses that the governance is meant for. Because if you look at the major reason of governance as entrenched in our constitution is to provide good welfare for its citizens and also security. These are two major things that these particular protesters are actually speaking to say there is hardship in the land. An average person find it difficult to feed themselves, and they've come out to alert the government to say we are not getting the necessary promises. I think fulfillment of the promises you gave to us. If you're saying, when they came in the first 6 months, 8 months, everybody was like, okay, let's give them time. But it's barely 2 years, and nothing seems to be working in line with some of the things they are giving us promises where they're actually coming on board.
All right, let me, of course, bring in Chetam into the conversation right now. Chetam, great having you join us. Yesterday's protest, happened in some parts of the country. Interestingly, the demands, even though they seem to align, they were also pretty much peculiar to some of the regions. For instance, in Rivers State, it was largely for the return of the suspended governor. In Lagos, the demands were pretty much almost different, even though generally it was as regards good governance. But what's your take on what we saw yesterday on the streets across the nation?
Thank you once again for having me. I want to say that yesterday's protest, first of all, let me give a brief of timeliness. I must state categorically that if there is any time to do anything, I think it is now, and to actually protest against a government like this present administration, it is now. But we're even too late. So from the day of their inauguration, we were supposed to start protesting because this government has shown that they do not have the people at heart, and they are after whatever sinister plan they have against the populace of Nigeria. I was on the street yesterday in Port Harcourt, where we did march, amongst other things, demanded for the repeal of the Cyber Crime Act, as well as the return to democratic dispensation in Rivers State. Because if you watch what is happening in Rivers State today, it will tell you that you will get to observe that Rivers State has been, seemed to be a conquered territory, where the president has carried out a sinister plan to destroy the livelihood of Rivers people, to destroy the economy of Rivers people, and to make sure that Rivers people suffer. That's exactly what is happening in Rivers State. So if Rivers people come out yesterday to protest and demand that we need a return to democratic governance, especially in a situation where a lot of us have argued and said that the president has no business suspending elected officers of Rivers State government, being the House of Assembly and the executive governor of the state, that the president has no business and has no powers constitutionally to suspend this person. And where we have also seen the actions of the sole administrator appointed by the president, and the president now saying that, and the Solo administration now taking up action that seems like he has intentions to stay as Solo administrator forever. It raises lots of concern in the hearts of some of us, and that is why we took to the streets. And we are saying that return us back to democracy. We also want the constitution to be working. That the fact that there was a declaration of emergency in Rivers does not remove, does not invalidate the presence of the constitution, and does not make the constitution ineffective. So we are demanded yesterday that we want a democratic process to be returned back in Rivers State, because there are really no security challenges like the president had claimed. All the issues the president had claimed in that is structured into the declaration of system of emergency in Rivers State. We have discovered that 90% of them are false, and there are no basis for which the president went ahead to declare state of emergency. Especially if you go down to the north, look at Niger State. Local governments like Shiroro is taken over by bandits. Most of the local governments within Niger State and other states, you discover that bandits are taking over this local government, and the federal government has not taken any steps to addressing the insecurity in these places. They have abandoned it. They have only made us understand that the interest is the resources of Rivers people. The interest is the resources of the oil-rich Rivers State. And we know that because Rivers State is the economic hub of the South-South, they want to destroy the economy of Rivers State, because no investor will come to Rivers State. No investor will come to invest in this type of situation of uncertainty. So they are destroying the economy of Rivers State for Lagos State. So boom. Don't forget, there is this competition between Rivers State and Lagos State when it comes to economy. Sadly, the president, with the sinister plan, has decided to destroy the economy of Rivers State. But this is why we came out yesterday to say, no, we have to return to a constitutional democracy like we have elected. And that the system has to return back to the way it ought to be. And as we have actually elected this particular people to lead us. And that is part of the demands we had made yesterday. But unfortunately, what we saw, the police, as usual, we understand them that they are not protecting the rights of Nigerians. They are after protecting the interests of politicians and whatever they have in mind. The police came up, sprayed tear gas on us, shot radically on the air, and did a lot of things in the Rivers State. Some of the reporters would have told you the story and how dangerous some of us had to run away and scamper for our life. One of us was even shot at the point. Amaye King was shot at the point. We had to take him to the hospital.
Sorry. I want to come in there. You said one of you protesting yesterday was shot at some point.
Yes, was shot. On record, was shot.
So what's the condition of that individual now?
No, I think he's better, because as of this morning we spoke, and he was even on one of the television stations where he also addressed a live section like this and all that. But I think he's responding to treatment at this morning. But it is really actually sad and unfortunate that the police have turned themselves to be an anti-people organization. And let me tell you how bad it is in Rivers State. You know, after the protest, even the situation where some of us were doing a Facebook Live in course of that particular protest, because we know the antics of the police. And we captured how the police shot at us, how the police sprayed tear gas at us. The PRO of Rivers State Police Command, one Irene Coco or what, came up with a press statement to say that the police never shot at protesters, but rather they shot, they used tear gas to disperse miscreants who were stealing phones and harassing the populace. And I asked myself this question: if miscreants are stealing phones, do you use tear gas to dispel miscreants who are stealing phones? Are you not going to arrest them? Especially when you have the larger number and you also have the gun. So it tells you the type of country we are running and the type of institution the police is becoming. After today, the police is almost a useless organization. Because let me tell you, they only go for the highest bidder.
Chetam.
It is when you have money, they respect you.
Are you saying that is the situation with the policing system right now in Rivers State? Is that what you're saying? It goes to the highest bidder.
It is terrible.
All right, you know what, we'll
go for the highest bidder.
We'll pick, from there. Let's just go on a quick break. Once we return, we'll definitely delve more into these issues. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me, Mr. Olusesan Okunade. He's a policy and public affairs analyst. And I also have Chetam Thierry-Nwala. Chetam, thank you so much for staying with me. Chetam, of course, is joining virtually. Let me come back to the studio. Mr. Okunade, I believe maybe if you choose to react to some of the things Chetam has said, that caught your fancy. But let's look at the impact generally of protest in Nigeria. Over the years, particularly in contemporary, will I call it our contemporary democracy, would you say that protest indeed has been an effective way of communicating with the government? Has it yielded that result that Nigerians yearn for?
I will say no. And the reason is not far-fetched than the people you are communicating that message to. Are they ready to listen? Do they have the will on the part of the people? And that's why you've seen over time, when they call out for protest or gathering, it's not like what we used to have before. I'm sure you know how we used to have this feel when the likes of Oshiomhole was NLC president. When they call out for protest or for strike or for any activity, it's like 100%. But over time, people lost confidence in some of the organizers of some of these protests across board. Some of them are bought over, some of them over time go into politics and they have their way, and it's like they are using the people to galvanize themselves to the next stage. So I would say that when you call out for protest, certain set of people will tell you that the people who are at the forefront are there for their personal interest and not for the interest of the people because of previous antecedents that we have seen. And that's why I would say it has not achieved the desired result. I'll give you a practical example. After EndSARS, there has been different call, because I consider EndSARS as one of the protests that actually shook the nation, held the government out there, because the request of the protesters that were genuine. I'm sure the police that is acting against the citizen now was one of the focal people that was actually a point of discussion, talking about their welfare and the way of motivating them. It was one of the front burner that the EndSARS people put across, that you cannot continue to use those policemen like this. And I will feel they are human, and quite disappointing that they signed to protect the people, but move away from there to go in line with what my friend has said as highest bidder. Because I will always say certain things that do happen. Have you moved on the road and you see people blowing siren, protected by police people, harassing you even in your car? And I ask myself the question, are you for the few or for the populace? We've seen instances, and where exactly is that political figure or that politician going that he has to chase all of us up the road, that he can not leave earlier than necessary, and nobody is calling them to order? We are in a state, Lagos State, there was a particular period where we have a governor that move around without blowing siren. If there is traffic, is in there with you. I want to see the major cause of this. That is leadership by example. But we've seen instances where the current dispensation is about oppressing the people and disheartening that the police, with the little that they feel that they want to get, go ahead and fight the people they are supposed to protect. Each time we have issue of they are trying to organize protests, we always have these intelligence gathering. That's the word they use, that it's going to be hijacked. And my question is, if there is an intelligent gathering that the protest is going to be hijacked by miscreants, have we identified to actually put those miscreants in their position and allow those who have actually come out? Because they come, they notify, and they give information to you that this is about to happen, and they have a group. All right. Look at what happened in Lagos. It was peaceful. And I keep saying, you cannot continue to silence people and feel that you are doing the right thing. Right. Even if it is to give a listening ear and give a response to any of their questioning, I think it's fair on the part of the government of the day.
All right, let me bring Chetam into the conversation right now. Chetam, you said quite a couple of things before we went on that break. Your experience, where you did highlight that even one of the protesters was shot yesterday? I mean, River State politics, for many Nigerians, it was always a peculiar one. So my question to you is this. Yesterday, you guys came out and you said you want Governor Fubara back. I mean, looking at the impact of that protest so far, would you say that it really did send a strong message?
The protest for yesterday is not saying we want Fubara back. And I want people to correct this particular impression that when we do things, we're not doing it for Fubara. We're interested in a democratic governance in River State. Don't forget, it wasn't only Fubara that was suspended. The House of Assembly was also suspended. People who were elected to represent us in the House of Assembly were also suspended by the president, who has no powers.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we also understand that part of those members of the House of Assembly are not even in the country at the moment. They went on some legislative training, if I maybe got that correctly, with the Minister of the FCT. The Minister of the FCT went to visit some of them. I'm with you.
Wherever they are right now, I'm not so concerned wherever they are, whatever they went to do. But you know, there is this saying we have always had that the worst democracy is better than the best military administration. Because truth be told, military administration or sole administrators or whatever they are doing right now in River State has a way of limiting and bringing dictatorship into the system. And anything that will bring dictatorship into the system, we are saying no to it. And that's why we're insisting and saying that restore that democracy in River State. River State people elected someone to lead us, and this person to represent us at the House of Assembly and make laws on our behalf. Yet you have said this person should no longer do it because you are president. Meanwhile, you present and project yourself as a Democrat, as one who has thought that democracy should reform. But today you are doing something different. And there is this fear in me that the president is acting a script, which he himself and those in league with him possibly must have written. Now, why do I have this fear and this concern? Don't forget, I have mentioned this before on one of your sister sisters. And I said that, see, there was a leak audio some years ago between the president, between the vice president, Chetam Thierry-Nwala, and Ibikule Amosu, the former governor of Ogun State. Where they had agreed, they were in that conversation, had stated that they were going to destroy the economy of the South and make sure that the Igbo people suffer. And do not also forget that some of us from that are also in River State are also from the Igbo extract. And they see River State as the whole of the economic hub of both the South and the Southeast. And what the president is doing right now is to destroy the economy of River State. So just to make sure that that conversation between Ibikule Amosu and the vice president, Chetam Thierry-Nwala, to come to reality. This is giving a lot of us concern. There is a sinister plan to destroy Rivers people. There is a clear-cut hatred against Rivers people perpetrated by this government. Because you ask yourself, why did the president declare a state of emergency? He said the governor, that the House of Assembly was destroyed by the governor, and the governor never made any plans to build back the House of Assembly. But I tell you, the same person he appointed as sole administrator went to the House of Assembly being built that is under construction by the same governor, and confirmed that the House of Assembly is 80% complete.
Chetam.
And not just 80% complete. And that, I'm coming to very quick this talk.
Okay.
80% complete, and not just 80% complete. And that the contractors have been fully paid. So why did he declare a state of emergency? The same pipeline that was blown, we have also discovered that the company operating on that particular facility has come up to say that no critical facility was damaged and that we have resumed operation in that same facility. So what exactly are we talking about? Why exactly a state of emergency in River State? Is there war in River State? Where are the issues in River State? Let me say this. There is a sinister plan against River State. And we will keep condemning it. We will keep talking about it. Okay. Even if we know that the police is in league with those who have this sinister plan against River people and against River.
All right. Just quickly, before I move to the studio, I mean, what was the next line of action after this protest? I mean, is it just a one-off, or are we looking at a situation whereby you would hit the streets again to press home your demands?
Well, the first thing what has happened. One of the first things we want to do at this point is to study the situation. We will study the situation because one of the things we will not want to do is where we are demanding for the right of the average man on the street. We don't also want to endanger the lives of the citizens or indigents of River State. We're not interested in endangering anybody's life. So one of the things we are doing right now, we are doing an on-the-ground assessment of situation. And if the situation warrants us to return back to the street, believe you me, we will return back to the streets because nobody is more Nigerian than the other. The president is only president today because it's privileged to be president. Anybody can be president tomorrow. And the fact that he's president today does not mean that he has more right as a Nigerian than myself. We are all bound by the Constitution of Nigeria, including himself. So nobody can come and say that, oh, they can do anything and get away with it. There are laws in this country, and we must put the laws into effect. And that is what we are saying, that the laws in this country has to work. And if the people are not comfortable with your action, what is reasonable in the circumstance is that you replace yourself and do what the people want. You're not serving your purpose, you're not serving yourself, you're serving the people. And what the president has done in River State is bad, is evil, is condemnable, and is even an impeachable offense. But of course, the National Assembly is the paper tiger. They are puppets of the president. The president use them as much as he wants. And of course, they will not take it. We don't even expect them to take action. But unfortunately, this is not supposed to be happening in a democracy. Because the president has dedicated on our constitution.
All right, Chetam, you've made your point. But quickly, before we, of course, move to the next topic, Chetam, I know that you've had a lot. And your final thoughts on this matter. Moving forward, particularly with the nature of our democracy right now, where there's a lot of concern, given the recent political outcomes we've seen, on specific issues. How do we progress?
Okay, first and foremost, if I must speak to the issue in Rivers State, I would want to encourage the youth to see how they can have engagement with the two elephants. We all know the issue in Rivers State, the two state actors who are actually creating the room. A lot of people can blame Mr. President for what is not, but if you don't allow a house that is divided against itself can actually not make any progress. The problem therein is to see how both parties can shift ground. If indeed the actors in that state believe in the people they are leading, that is where we must start from. Because you now have 6 months ahead of you, which the president said that's the maximum if you don't allow it to extend. If we don't allow them to come to a common ground where they can put a position before Mr. President to say, okay, things have gone south, but we have actually retraced ourselves and we are coming back to you to say that we will behave ourselves and give good governance to the people. We may see an extension of that, which we don't pray for. But the youth must be able to engage this a little, because part of the problem we keep saying is that they say the youth are the future leaders of tomorrow, but they don't even give them the room to operate. So the youth must look for a way to call the two parties. Quite disheartening that the people that they are actually fighting for is at this point when even their youths deem it fit to say, no, we cannot allow so administrator to lead us. We want democracy restored back. The same people that are supposed to make law are having a conference, and tomorrow somebody will come that somebody is out of the country not doing the assignment he's supposed to do. Are they not supposed to sit with the youth? These are the people they are fighting for. These are the people that they are going to actually promote the democracy we are talking about. But they are out there. Even the so-called politicians, I will continue. How many of them are the interest of the young people and the youth at heart? The answer is no. Why can't they cut off their training? Whatever it is, to say this is actually happening in our state and the reason for this gathering is for our purpose. But they left the youth, because definitely if you see the high and mighty people coming out to stand with the youth, I'm sure the police too themselves, because part of the things we are accusing the police for is that the highest bidder. And these are the people that can actually make those things available. So I want them to go back to the drawing board and say, our leaders, you are the one creating this problem. So there must be a common ground. At times, the young boy may not have that, the wisdom you feel, but he can speak to the elders say, sir, let's have a common ground. And our democracy must return. I feel for the people of River State, because we need good governance, but we cannot continue to be having
two sides of the coin in a given state where the people will not enjoy the dividend of democracy as promised.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Olusesan Okunade, policy and, of course, public affairs analyst. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. I'd also like to say a big thank you to you, to Chetam Thierry-Nwala. Thank you for your time. Activist, lawyer, and pan-Africanist. It's been a pleasure.